This is May of ELEGOO. During a video call with Uncle Jessy, something supernatural happened to me.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this Centauri Carbon. It has just been printing nonstop for the last 2 months on so many different projects.
Wow, sounds like you're a very big fan of Centauri Carbon.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of the Centauri Carbon. However, I would love if there was a multicolor system that were eventually available for it.
Yeah, I guess it's no secret at all, as we're launching the filament switcher kit already.
Oh, I'm very excited to hear more about that. And actually, I think I saw over on your 10th anniversary page, it looks like there's an outline of something even slightly boxier or even larger that might be coming soon.
Yeah, we're debuting this one at Rapid City exhibition.
Okay.
So why not let you on it? It's the latest model in one of our resin printer series, and this series is...
May, are you there? Hey, where'd you go?
Wow.
Whoa!
I don't know, Magneto has this kind of ability.
Well, apparently there was some Wi-Fi connectivity, so I figured doing this conversation in person would be a lot better.
Yeah, me too. I think so. So that's why I'm here, okay, today.
Thank you so much for joining me here in my studio. This is very exciting to have ELEGOO here in Rochester, New York, visiting me at my studio.
Yeah, me too. So I would kind of let you know about Jupiter series.
Yes.
Actually, it's the Jupiter new printers that the resin new printer that we're actually launching on Rapid TCT.
Okay.
So as we are going to Rapid TCT exhibition from 8th to 10th next week. Would you be joining us?
Oh, I will be there on Tuesday the 8th to see it in person, and I'm very excited to see it in action and in person and hear more about the new 3D printer.
Sure, then I'll let you know more info about it in the exhibition, right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, see you. Okay, Uncle.
Hi.
I think actually most of our ELEGOO audiences are quite familiar with you, but would you like to do a self-introduction at the start?
Sure. My name's Uncle Jessy. I make lots of different 3D printing content online. Lots of replica props, helmets, cosplay-related items, lots of goofy things. I lend a lot more towards the edutainment side of creation and just absolutely love 3D printing a lot with the ELEGOO 3D printers.
Yeah, I think most of our audiences and consumers have learned a lot from your YouTube channel. Would you mind, sharing a bit about what did you do before becoming a whole or full-time content creator?
Yeah, sure. For a long time, I worked in the software industry, working for a fashion technology company.
Wow.
And
Fashion
I was helping oversee fashion software that helps companies develop and make clothing. And a lot of that ended up having me also making videos internally for the organization or training materials or hosting events and giving talks, which sort of lent itself to me creating videos.
Yeah.
And in the evenings when I wasn't working, I started making YouTube videos and randomly getting into 3D printing and figuring out how I can use a 3D printer to make cosplay things. And one thing sort of snowballed into another after many, many years of making videos.
Wow, it seems like your previous career has actually inspired you more on the becoming a full-time 3D printing creator, right?
It definitely has. It made me a good bit more actually, they very much played very well together because making yourself stand in front of a camera and talk is one thing in itself, and I think that really lent itself to me talking to clients and customers and making videos at work, and it all sort of helped weave itself together into where I'm at now.
Yeah, and thanks for your sharing. So, can you let us know why you named your YouTube channel Uncle Jessy? Yeah, we're always curious about that.
Sure. Funny enough, that has been my Xbox gamer tag for like 20 years now. And if you go back to my very first set of videos here on the channel, it wasn't even 3D printing related or cosplay. It was all about Xbox and videos related to Xbox. So I was originally making video game content and then transitioned into making 3D printing and just experimenting with different types of materials and equipment and making things. So that's how it sort of evolved over the years from gaming to making.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So sorry, Uncle. I just got a little bit confused here. I still didn't get it, like why Uncle Jessy?
Oh, yeah. So not only is that my gamer tag, like has that been my gamer tag, but it's directly related to Full House and Uncle Jessy from that, which I look more like an Uncle Joey than Uncle Jessy from Full House. But that's where the name Uncle Jessy came from, was the Full House reference there. Yes.
Well, I would say that's kind of a really, good inspiration to bring the name from characters in the drama, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
it gives me, it helps. I feel like when making videos, having a little bit of a persona that I can lean into versus. It's still me, but it's sort of a hyper version of me that you see presented in videos.
Yeah, sure. I agree with it. And also, I really like the name Uncle Jessy, I mean, it's always, like quite sweet for us to call you Uncle.
I know, I
directly.
appreciate that. It's always
Yeah.
fun. They, for a lot of you watching, they refer to me just, not as Uncle Jessy, it's just Uncle. So,
Okay, Uncle. And then the next question is,
Yeah.
how did you get started with 3D printing?
Well, I've known about 3D printing for a long while before I even got started into it. But this was back in 2014, I think, and it was
Wow.
all around wanting to make stuff for cosplay.
Yeah.
And how can I, Iron Man had come out. Like, how can
Yeah.
I make an Iron Man helmet? Or more specifically, how can I make a Magneto helmet? And I figured 3D printing would lend itself to the actual creation of not just the 3D models, but me being able to make and finish these replica props.
Yeah, I think back in 2014, 3D printing is still kind of something really new, right?
Oh, completely. Like, my first 3D printer was, I think, like it had a 4-inch by 4-inch by 6-inch build volume. So it could only print really small things. It was really slow. It was incredibly loud. The print quality wasn't great. It didn't have a heated bed, but it was still really cool and kind of magical.
Yeah, so I think 3D printing is actually inspiring more and more people to do things by themselves. To craft,
agreed.
Yeah, to craft many things by themselves. Yeah, and then a question that I'm also very curious about is how did you know us, ELEGOO? Yeah.
Well, funny enough, before ELEGOO ever got into the FDM side of 3D printing, how I had originally heard of ELEGOO was on the resin side of things. And I think it was the original ELEGOO Mars 3D printer. And that was the very first ELEGOO 3D printer that I ever got my hands on. And it was the first resin experience that I've had that was like, it actually worked and I could see myself using it. I had used other resin 3D printers in the past and they just were, I struggled to get them to print properly or to get prints to stick to the build plate. The original ELEGOO Mars, it was just really cool. And then I think it was the Saturn, the original Saturn, ELEGOO released, it was like the first time someone had released a bigger resin 3D printer. And it was the coolest thing in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll be able to print really big statues with this larger resin printer.
Yeah, I'm really glad that ELEGOO has started a quite good start. Has a quite good start with you,
Yeah.
for our first machine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's evolving, really rapidly now. Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we were joking about it, but I think I've literally used every single ELEGOO 3D printer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's also the next question
Yes.
that I would like to learn about. Can you share with us some thoughts about the evolvement of our 3D printers in this year?
Yeah. I mean, since I have used basically every ELEGOO 3D printer, I've had a lot of experience with them, and I can say, like, every time you've put out a new printer, there has been an improvement and a lot of times it's been year over year with those. Everything from the original Neptunes to the Neptune 3 to the Neptune 4 to even the latest Centauri has been a big jump in the evolution of how not only do they perform, but the speed and the quality that we're able to get out of the prints has been really impressive. And now, most recently with the Centauri, ELEGOO's now started creating some really great print profiles that just work absolutely incredible on the 3D printer, which makes it so much easier to get up and running with the machines. And I think that's has been a really important part of just in general, anyone coming into the 3D printer space, how well ELEGOO's made it to start working with their machines. And then even on the resin side of things, going from like the Mars 3 to the Mars 4 to now the Mars 5 Ultra, you know, for me, a lot of the time it's the print speed. Like I'm recording. I've got projects on the way. I want to be able to print as fast as I can, and you're further enabling that with your fast resins that I can work with in those machines, and then now even with the ELEGOO satellite has made it even easier to now there's resin profiles specifically for these resin 3D printers.
Yeah, very glad to hear that you can, you know, like share with us your thoughts about this involvement. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to how our company could impress you also in the future about you know, like the future involvement as well. Yeah,
I think ELEGOO's right now doing a fantastic job of one, impressing me with. I would say I want to go back to the satellite software for a second. When I first started using that, like they gave me an early access version of the software, and you guys had built in, and the first ones that I'm aware of, out of all the other resin slicers that are out there, having the ability to use multiple build plates, which is so incredibly important for me. I'm printing statues, and it's not typically one file. It might be 20 individual files that I'm going to be bundling and trying to maximize the build volume of the printer and get printed. So having the ability to organize that has been so nice.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, ELEGOO's ability to listen to feedback and incorporate that is what is continuing to push ELEGOO forward, and what I'm looking forward to seeing more of as people, myself included, provide more feedback on 3D printers. Like, I need a multicolor system for the Centauri carbon.
Yeah, as we all know, it's not a secret, and we'll launch it very soon. Okay, yeah, and I think, you know, as you said, Uncle, especially consumers and also content creators like you are always on the core of our brand, and also our, you know, like ELEGOO's heart. Yeah, so we just want to improve much better and better, you know, like to give you guys more good machines to use. Yeah, and
great.
then also any involvement of Giga that maybe you would like to.
Oh my goodness! Yes. Well, right now I have a project going on that I'm taking a Lego brick separator and scaling that up. Where I've scaled that up, I can't remember the percentage wise, but I scaled it as large as it would go on the Centauri carbon. And then I thought, well, you know what? I bet I could print this even bigger in one piece on the Giga, and it's going to end up being 4 feet long once it's fully printed.
4 feet long.
4 feet long, and I think 5 rolls of filament.
My God, how would you put it in the studio?
I want to hang it, so I'm not quite sure. It's going to be a little heavy as well once it's printed.
This is May. In the end, Uncle finally printed out his gigantic separator, and it turned out impressive. I was honored to witness the printing process here. Besides the huge separator, Uncle also showed me some of his other 3D printed items in his studio. Let's take a look together.
These are probably one of my most favorite things that I've 3D printed. This was a really fun little painting and finishing project to try and make them look like real chicken wings. And it's got Buffalo Bills logos embedded on them. It's just a fun little resin 3D printing project.
Well, you inspire me. As it's lunchtime, should we go have some fried chicken?
Yes. May, let me show you some of the things that I printed on some of the ELEGOO 3D printers. So this is a massive Star Wars Star Destroyer that I dry brushed here. There's really no sanding or anything else on this. And then I love printing big things, which is why I've got a huge Optimus Prime and then this massive Rancor that's eating Baby Yoda. This was printed on the Orange Storm Giga in one go, which is just massively impressive. And then one of my favorites is printed off of the ELEGOO Centauri Carbon. Surprisingly, it was only a 3-day print, but it's one of those really fun things that are notoriously difficult.
Let's have a competition, maybe?
Indeed.
Yeah, let's go.
The one that I think is probably the one that people most catch their eye in here is the massive, this is like, I'm 6 feet tall. This is easily an 8-foot tall Magneto statue.
I'm only to his waist.
There is so much filament that was used, each of these individual parts printed on a whole bunch of different printers, welded together, and then kind of standing here in one go. hopefully his arm doesn't fall down on us or anything.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's really tall. I just
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
just do his waist. Yeah.
He's ticklish too.
Yeah, it really catches my eye when I just enter the
Yes.
studio. Yeah. And the stormtrooper.
Yeah, Stormtrooper.
Okay, Uncle. I have seen like many beautiful helmets that you have 3D printed when I actually just walking.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little like introduction about it?
Yeah, let's go check them out.
Yeah.
So I have a large collection of helmets, some of which I've 3D printed, some of which I've purchased.
Yeah.
And these is like a fraction of the helmets that I have here in the studio. These are just always interchanging and mixing these up with what I have on display. But I think some of my favorites that I have to be this Wolverine helmet that was, I believe this was 3D printed on the Neptune 4. And yeah, it was, because I can even see the seam lines of where the ears, you have to look really closely of where it goes together. But this is just a really fun, in comic book obviously inspired helmet here. And it's got that really great texture where you can use this, it's like a rubber spray paint that when it applies, it gives it that sort of textured, rubberized feel to it that gives it that nice, authentic Wolverine look to it. And then I think, as most of you might know, I'm slightly obsessed with Magneto. Oh, but before we talk about that, let's take a look at these. May just found my retractable Wolverine claws.
Yeah,
Here,
that's
try
so
it.
cool.
Try it.
Yeah, let me try.
Yep.
So I
And then you just pull the. Yeah. Here, watch. You can pull it back.
So,
And then, and then pull down on this.
ooh, yeah.
Watch
that's
your
cool.
eyes.
Yeah, it's cool. I love this. Can you give it to me?
Yeah, you can eat that. You can have it if you want. Yeah.
Sure, I'll bring it back to my home.
You can bring it to Rapid and show everybody.
Sure.
That's a really fun. It's a really fun, easy print. And then, as I think a lot of you know, I'm obsessed with Magneto, and this is one that I like to have on display in a bunch behind me in a bunch of my videos. This is a mashup that I can't remember who the designer was. Mixed up a Magneto helmet with a samurai design, and this was printed on the Neptune 4 Max, and the details just look really, really good. And what I love about this one as well is I didn't end up painting it because I ended up using ELEGOO's, I think this is your Galaxy Black, or is it like a Galaxy Purple?
Yeah.
And it's just got this really fun, shimmery look to the overall helmet.
Yeah, I can see the transition of the
Yes.
color. It's quite stunning. Yeah.
It's two pieces and that go together, and it is definitely a chunkier, heavier helmet. would be a little bit more uncomfortable to wear for a long period of time, but looks really cool on display.
Yeah.
Definitely need a little bit more padding in there if you're going
Yeah.
to wear it around at a convention.
I think so. Maybe need to put something softer
Yes,
inside.
yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, your head might hurt.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, Uncle, I can
Yeah.
see that you have printed something here. So
I
let's
did.
check what you have printed. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, it's a quite cool mask.
Yes,
or-
it is. I printed a mask.
Yeah. So how about we do a post-processing together?
I like it. Let me show
Yeah.
you how.
Yeah. Let's see. So what should I do at the first step?
Yeah, let's take it on out.
Yeah.
So, yep, just flex the build plate and
Yeah.
take it out.
Oops.
You got it.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And then let's put it back then. Yeah, I like the corner with magnets that could help me put the plate back. Okay.
All right, so the first step is going to be to remove the supports.
To remove this support, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
so
you
I
should
just
pull them right off.
Yeah, okay. It's a bit tight.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all done for removing the support, right?
Yeah. So next, what we can do is we can sand it smooth on
Mm-hmm.
some of those connection points.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this is a sanding box that I made. So
Okay.
it's going to help you. It's utilizing 3D printed parts here
Yeah.
to help keep everything contained so it doesn't get anything super dirty while we're sanding. So you're going to
Yeah.
slide your hands in.
Sure. Can't wait to try it.
Yeah. And we've got our mask in there. This is a Dr. Doom mask.
Yeah. It's just like the sleeves.
Those sleeves are extra long for my
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
And then are you able to grab the rotary tool?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, let me turn it on.
Sure.
And then you can
Yeah. Let me
sand some of the edges there.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of the rough areas we just want to help smooth out where we might have had some of the supports connected to it.
Sure.
Okay. Should be
Am I
good.
really doing a good job?
You're fine. Should be good. And then the next step is we can get it painted.
Sure. Let's do this.
All right, so what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do some dry brushing. We're gonna use a makeup brush, like that I use as a paintbrush for this. And what dry brushing is we're gonna take a little bit of paint. You only need a very little amount of paint on here. And what we're gonna do is just dab a little bit on our brush. So if you
Yeah.
just wanna lightly tap it into the paint. And then we are going to end up taking a piece of paper or a plate or something like that, and we're going to brush off most of it.
Yeah.
We just need a little bit on there. And then what you can do is you can go over areas of your prop and lightly brush on the paint. And you basically build it up, interacting
Ah,
with...
I could see the color.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool.
So it's a fun, easy way to finish some of your props, and it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of time to do it, and you can really play around with how much or how little and different tones of paint that you're going to use. So just really hitting the highlights, and then you can kind of go back and tap in and get a little bit more paint, and then you brush it back off on your paper towel, and then you just wick away at it. It's a
Yeah.
fun, again, it's a really fun, easy way to approach painting and finishing some of your props.
Yeah.
And there's no wrong way to do it, which is the best part.
Yeah. I have learned a lot from Uncle's tutorial.
The paint is so much more dried out than what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it's really dry actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Good. Yeah, Uncle,
Yeah.
thanks so much for teaching me how to do the post-processing.
Yeah.
It's also my first time to do
Hey,
this.
it's an easy one to try.
Yeah, and I'm really, like glad to have Uncle Jessy as my first teacher. Yeah, to teach me how to do the post-processing.
Anytime.
Yeah, sure, I'll definitely fly back to you next time. if I
Yes,
have a
next time we'll
question.
try something a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I actually got more questions for you. Should we
Great.
go back?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go. So, Uncle, it's very nice to see you today, and also, have many, like after you share with us about so many things and projects that you have created with our 3D printers. So, one thing that I would like to know about is, among all the ELEGOO products, which printer do impress you the most?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I think the obvious answer for me at this point is the Centauri Carbon, just because of the pricing.
Yeah.
To this day, you all shocked me on that live stream.
I still remember when we do the live stream and when Peter.
They wouldn't tell me the price. They wouldn't tell me I didn't know the price. Like, that wasn't a bit. I didn't know the price before the thing.
Yeah, when Peter swiped off the tiers and you were like, what?
I thought for sure it was going to be like 4 something. It was 3, which is just, $2.99, which is insane, absolutely insane. I still love the Giga just because I can print really big things on that.
Yeah.
I almost want to. I have the huge Magneto statue that I've printed in a million different parts. I kind of want to reprint the entire statue, but in bigger chunked segments on the Giga. I kind of do. Maybe a different statue. I might have to do that at another point in time. But I don't know. Like, it's really hard for me to choose because I'm such a big fan of resin printing, but also FDM 3D printing. But if you're into a resin printer, the Mars 5 Ultra is my go-to option for printing just about anything.
Yeah, sure. I'm really glad to hear that. And also, I hope, your audiences could love our 3D printers in the future and also now.
Yep.
So how do you think your audiences perceive our brand and or our products?
Oh.
And also, do you have any suggestions for our brand or from your, if you have heard any feedback from your audiences?
Yeah. I would say the feedback that I've gotten from my audience that I interact with, and I think a lot of times while they'll continue to buy ELEGOO products, is the customer support.
Yeah.
I think ELEGOO tends to go a little bit above and beyond what a lot of the other brands do. Also, the competitive pricing. I mean, it's no secret people want to be able to print cool things, but not spend
Too much money.
Too much money.
Yeah.
But I think what lots of people are asking for, what I'm asking for, is a larger Centauri. I think you will hear nonstop from my audience and others out there is the Centauri Carbon's awesome. We now want to see a bigger Centauri.
Yeah, Peter always said she got, multiple messages from, the Facebook group about when will you, launch a bigger Centauri Carbon and with AMS system. Yeah, he always got, we will definitely,
I actually have an idea for ELEGOO that no one else is doing, and it has to do with the Centauri, and there's a camera inside the Centauri.
Oh, yeah.
I want a camera that I can rotate. Like, it'll go from a horizontal recording to a vertical recording so that I can record vertical time lapses and then post those to social media. So it's a camera that you can just kind of turn, and then it would record this way or it'll record this way.
Yeah.
I don't know how complicated that is. I'm sure that's much more complicated than I'm making it sound, but.
Yeah, but I think that's a very cool idea. I will definitely collect this idea and send it back to our product manager for them, and then let them introduce, let them improve for our customers and also our content creators.
Yeah.
And then I would like to ask you a quite, broad question actually. As you're a long-term 3D printing content creators in this industry, what's your envision of the future of 3D printing?
I think where my mind immediately goes to is how popular AI has become and how that's going to further lend itself into 3D printing, whether that's potentially an AI tool for 3D printers that helps, figure out what kind of print settings and profiles to help you further fine tune the materials that you might be working with. Because I will work with so many different materials and different brands of filament
Yeah.
and trying to figure out the optimal settings. And I've wondered if there was a way that we could leverage AI to do some of that. I know from a design perspective, whether or not we like it, because I know a lot of designers aren't a fan of AI 3D modeling. I'm not a huge fan of AI 3D modeling. I think that all kind of right now looks somehow I don't know how to describe it, but it all kind of looks similar. I think it's going to improve. What has been encouraging for me to hear, though, is from a 3D modeling designer standpoint, is how I know of designers today, 3 of them, that are leveraging AI to generate models and multiple iterations of models
Yeah.
until they figure out something that they kind of like, and then they'll use that as a base foundation, and then they go and do lots of other work on it. But they said it'll literally save them, a day or half a day's worth of prototyping and trying to figure out how they want it to look or to be positioned or just a generic shape, and then they can start refining and working off of that. I'm not sure how many designers would come out and advertise or admit that type of thing, but it is being used, and I think for that purpose it could be very interesting to help speed up the design process. I'm still a little bit skeptical about full 3D modeling, AI 3D modeling things,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, the AI image thing has blown up over the last few years, so we'll see. But I think a lot of that creativity still lies in people, not
Yeah.
technology. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. So regarding this, I think AI is always an interesting topic for us to
Yes.
discuss regarding every future aspects of every industry.
Yeah.
So regarding just the AI functions, what do you think ELEGOO could combine AI with in a 3D printer?
Oh man, you guys are already partnering with Octo Everywhere, which is leveraging AI through the camera on the Centauri to help notify things for like error detection, if print's failing, that sort of thing is extremely cool. But I think again, it's like, how can we further leverage that on the software side of things within the slicers to further build upon and improve how you're creating your models, whether it's laying them out or positioning them. Maybe there's a way to further leverage AI on the software side of things versus more so on the hardware printer side of things. It's also very polarizing between the user base. Some people are very, I was very excited about trying out the AI camera thing with Octo Everywhere, and it works really well. But there are other people that I've posted about it, and they were like, I don't want this anywhere near my
Yeah.
printer. I don't.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a not a double-edged sword, but it's definitely, it's got people's strong opinions on it. That's
Yeah, sure. I agree with it. And
Yeah.
I think, but that's a interesting topic for us to, concentrate on, in our future. And also, definitely, I think that's a quite good, suggestion for our R&D team to, look into, in their future development, that
Yes,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Just a question about, as you're already a quite professional content creators on 3D printing, do you have any advice for freshmen or new beginners to 3D printing?
Yes, yeah. It is now easier than ever to get into making content and sharing that online. I got into this not to try and make YouTube videos full time. I just wanted to share the projects that I was working on, or I figured out a really cool tip for a 3D printer that I was working on. I wanted to share that, so I made a video tutorial on how to do that. And I've continued to sort of lean into that. But now, with the ever-present phone and your cameras are getting better and better and better, it's further enabling people to just get in and quickly shoot something and share that. And we've seen, everyone's seen over the last few years, overnight, you can go from having no followers to a video just absolutely blowing up and gaining a huge follower count. And further building on an audience and interacting with that. But it's a lot of that interaction that I think lends itself to the creativity side of things, where you can be creative not only in your videos, but also with your audience and how you're interacting with them, which can be a lot of fun. And plus it helps, for me, it took me a very long time to feel comfortable talking to a camera and not feeling like I was being very awkward. So don't be afraid. Like, go back and watch my early videos. They are very cringy. They're very cringy.
Yeah, but I think, it's always a good opinion or like, suggestion for even, because I'm still a beginner for 3D printing as well. Yeah, and I think just like, I'm always camera shy as well.
Just get out there and record. You don't even need to be in the you don't even need to be in it at this point. You just showing off what you're working on.
Yeah, sure. And also like, so for beginners, what ELEGOO products do you think would be quite helpful or beneficial for them?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Centauri Carbon is going to be the go-to. Right now, that is probably affordability-wise, pricing-wise, but not just the ease of getting it up and running and printing with. It's really simplifies that entire process, which in the past has not been overly complicated, but it's been an entry barrier for some folks. That I don't want to learn how to level a bed. Well, now you don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't know how to I don't know how to build profiles. Well, you don't have to. So you can literally just start feeding things to it and start printing, which has been incredible.
Yeah, and also as just you mentioned, me as one of the beginners would really appreciate content creators like you to have so many outstanding or like, good tutorials for us to learn about.
Enjoy about making videos, and it's not just the creation process of it and trying to entertain or educate, but it's really also making sure that if you run into issues, cover that, talk about that, share that experience, because I think that's how a lot of people learn, is from your mistakes. So if I've run into an issue, whether it's 3D printing or painting or sanding, and I'm using the wrong type of product, I try to make sure that I include that so that someone else doesn't run into the exact same issue that I ran into.
Yeah, we as beginners really appreciate that, and also we also need to learn some lessons from you guys as well, and also to do much more better in our 3D printing process.
Cool.
Yeah. And then that's all for the questions and all for the interview today.
Yeah.
And thanks, Uncle, so much for your time.
Thank
and
you.
And also, lead me to, wander around and see your studio.
Let's check out some cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm super excited always to, and feels unreal in here. Yeah. And with you, just beside you and then talking with you also. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really nice to talk to you, Uncle.
Nice to talk with you, May.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you guys. Thank you for watching.